It's a beautiful day. It's a little bit warm, so if we need to take a break at any point, please do so if you start to feel overheated or any way that is less than optimal for your body. We're going to start by coming to our standing mountain pose. And with every practice we begin, even if we're doing any other exercise or any other activity, we want to start by connecting our feet and finding our feet. And one of the best ways to do that, and when we're barefoot, is just to shift our weight front to back, just to start to feel and tune into all the different areas in our feet. Our toes, we want to think about our toes as extending out from our feet and opening and spreading out. A lot when we get our toes in our shoes, they get all crunched up sometimes, depending on the kind of shoes. So we want to give them some space to be open and free. And also, as we're shifting our weight, just noticing also how it affects us going up towards the crown of the head. Sometimes different foot positions will allow us to have more core engagement or feel more engaged in our core. Sometimes we'll notice if our heels are sore, maybe when we walk we strike the heel, and that can make our heels a little bit sore. So just starting to feel rooted down through the feet. And then we're just going to wiggle the knees, not a big wiggle, and we're going to just let the hips kind of move with that wiggle of the knees and see if we can keep the head from moving. So then we might start to feel those oblique muscles, the muscles in our side body, as our hips are just going from side to side. Now let's go ahead and settle, stop moving. Take a nice big breath in. And now let's see if we can make the hips move just by engaging the oblique muscles, the muscles in our sides. And the heel may lift a little bit because we're not doing that bend with the knees anymore, where when we're bending the knees, we're dumping the hips side to side. But when we're using those oblique muscles, contract, release, contract, release, contract. We really have to utilize. When we don't let our knees bend, we have to use those muscles in our sides, which also then translates to that inner core that you hear me talk about all the time. So it could be really small in our bodies. It could just be a really tiny movement, a really small contraction, or it could be a little bit bigger where the heel lifts off the mat. And go ahead and settle. And just notice how we may have shifted a little bit in the feeling and sensations in our body. Take a nice big breath in. We're going to open up, reaching arms open out and up, lengthening up to the sky. Palms are facing each other. Let's all take another nice big breath in, imagining we're untucking our shirt from our pants. And then as we exhale, let's relax the shoulders. Just let the shoulders relax, and that may make our arms open a little bit out to the sides. And just take a couple more breaths here and just noticing as we're standing and pressing our feet into the mat without locking the knees. See if we can pull through the middle of the thighs up and in towards the belly button. So maybe press a little bit harder to the inside of the foot, and then see if we can even it out and just notice maybe the glutes activate a little bit more. And let's go ahead and press the air down. And then we're just going to flow with the breath here. See if we can maintain that engagement in the lower body and in the core. As we exhale, pressing the air. Inhaling, arms sweep up to the sky. Just do 3 more like this. Really tuning into the feet, to that inner core. So even though we're only moving our arms, this is a very active, flowing movement. And let's do one more. I don't know if that was 3, but we're going to do one more anyway. Palms connect. Exhale, let's sit back to our chair. Hands come to heart center. So knees track with the toes. This is almost like we're doing a squat. Breathe, pressing the palms together. Now just imagining where we're zipping up a tight pair of jeans that go up above our belly button. So if we were to zip them up and we had to pull the core in, just imagining how that would feel. And see if we can find a little bit more length in the spine. And now we'll flow in this chair. We can circle sweep the arms out and up and reach to the sky. And then just sit back to our chair. And then circle sweep the arms out. If we want to add a little bit more, we can sweep the arms back and then reach to the chair. So all we're doing is just moving, a bigger movement with the arms. So this is an option. Allowing the breath to guide us in our movements. Whew. The other option is to bring palms together overhead and just sit to our chair and reach overhead. So we're just warming up the body, creating bigger movements, or just connecting the breath with our movements. And let's take two really, really slow, like we're moving in slow motion. Hold 2 breaths. And then on our next inhale, really, really slow, coming back up. And then reaching up. And then we're going to step wide on our mats. We're going to face the sun. This is the first time I get to cue this with actual sunshine. So we're going to imagine we're opening and shining our hearts forward. Our feet are wider than hips distance apart. Let's all point our toes. Let's all have the feet parallel. Soft bend in the knees. So just making sure the knees aren't locked. And then we're just going to shift into the balls of the feet, so towards the toes, and then pull the heels in. So we externally rotate our knees. So only bringing the heels in as far as our knees can open up with them. So we have that openness in the legs. We're open across the chest, and we'll inhale, arms reach up, 5-pointed star. Palms facing the sky. We're like sunbathers, trying to sunbathe every part of our bodies. And then as we exhale, we're going to lower, knees track with the toes, elbows come in towards the rib cage, keeping the spine long, head lifted. Only going as low as we can without leaning forward too much. Whew. And then we'll flow here. Breathe, inhale, reach to the sky, straighten the legs. Exhale, lower. Inhale, pressing through the feet, reach to the sky. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach. Just checking in, making sure we have that core connection as we flow down. And then as we reach to the sky. Really working now to activate not only the inner core muscles, but the muscles in our obliques and the side body, and the muscles in the inner thigh, those gluteus medius muscles, the smaller glute muscles, as we lower and extend. And we'll all do 3 more moonflowers. And then we'll transition to sunflowers. So again, we have those modifications available. We can bring the hand to the knees and lower and come up. Or we can circle sweep the arms down, scooping up below us, and then reach back to the sky. So in our sunflowers, we have those options. So just finding the one that works in our bodies, making sure we're keeping that core connection. Awesome. Yay. And we're just going to do 6 more. Remembering we can take a break whenever we need to. We're breathing and flowing. Slower is better. And let's all do 2 more. Wherever we are in our count, we're going to do 2 more. And we'll all meet in 5-pointed star. Arms reaching up to the sky. Take a nice deep breath in, then exhale, lower the shoulders. Relax the shoulders down, and then the arms follow. Toes point forward. Big bend in the knees. Press the hips back as though we're squatting. Nice long spine, and then we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold with a deep bend in our knees. Awesome. Head just hangs, or we can rest elbows on the knees. Inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose. So a wide leg monkey, so hands can be on shins, fingertips on the mat, or again, elbows on the knees, or hands on tops of the knees. And then from here, really engage the core, shift the weight back into the heels a little bit, and then press through the heels as we extend, straightening, reach to the sky. Let's step our feet back together, top of the mat. So I'm going to show you guys, it's called Ujjayi breath, and it's also known as the Darth Vader breath. And what it does is it helps to create more heat in our bodies, which we don't really need it right now, but the breath will, it creates a little bit of resistance. So if we want to make our practice more active or more intense, we can use the Ujjayi breath. And the best way to express it is if we take a big breath in, and then imagine there's a mirror or glass in front of us and we're trying to fog it up. So you feel that little rattle in the back of the throat. And we'll just 3 more like that. You don't have to put your hand up, but if you want to, for me it helps. Now see if we can create that same sensation as we inhale. Now inhale, and as we exhale, close the mouth. So it's an audible breath. We can hear it in our ears. We can hear it inside of our head. It's almost like we're just about to start snoring, but we're not snoring. So the breath comes in through the nose, out through the nose. It's a great way to also stimulate our throat chakra. So that is an optional breath. It also helps us to slow our breathing, and it also brings us more inside ourselves. Let's go ahead and start moving again. Sun salutations, arms extend, inhaling, arms up. Hold 3 breaths. Find that inner core. Press the feet into the mat as though we're trying to make an impression. Micro bend in the knees. On our next exhale, we're going to go ahead, fold forward, soft knees, hips press back. Awesome. Hang here. Forward fold, 3 breaths. Maybe shake the head yes or no, just to make sure the head is truly just dangling. On our next inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose. Hands to shins or tops of the knees or toes. And really focusing in on that inner core, Pulling the belly in, shining our hearts forward, shoulders back, lengthen the back of the neck, and then now we're going to exhale, bring hands all the way to the mat, firmly to the mat, step one foot back, then the other coming into our plank. Awesome, and from here we can lower one knee to the mat or both knees to the mat and lower through our chaturanga, or just lower in full plank. So chest on the mat, toes point back. We're gonna all squeeze the knees together and squeeze the glutes. And just hold here. See if we can create a really strong foundation in the top of the thighs, tops of the feet, and pressing the pelvic into the mat. Now lengthening out through the sides, take a nice big breath in, pull the belly button into the spine, and then slowly begin to lift with every inhale into a baby cobra. Squeeze the knees together. We're only using the spinal muscles, the muscles that run up and down the spine. See if we can maintain length in the back of the neck. Three breaths. Now we're gonna tuck the toes. Pull the belly button up like someone has a string attached to our belly button, and then we're lifting up and back to all fours. Toes are tucked, so we lift into downward facing dog. Just alternate, press one heel, then the other into the mat, just creating more openness in the back of the legs. Awesome. Beautiful. And then from here we have the option to baby step the feet to the top of the mat or lift the right leg and then step through for high lunge. If we have baby step forward, we're just in a forward fold. Then we inhale to our crescent lunge. So hips are square to the front of the mat, back heel is lifted. Shoulders relax down and away from the ears. Pulling the femur bone and that back leg up and into the hip. So we're lifting up but lowering down all at the same time, creating that nice strong foundation in the stance. And then from here we're gonna shift our weight forward, back foot steps up, forward fold. Breathe. Shift your weight a little bit into the heels, flattening the spine, bend the knees sitting into chair pose. Arms can be extended out or hands resting at heart center. Yay! Inhale, reverse up, extended mountain. Relax the shoulders, press the feet into the earth, pulling the belly button in and up. Lengthening through the sides. Exhale, swan dive forward, nice flat spine. Micro bend in the knees, hinging at the hips, all the way down. Awesome. Beautiful. Now, before we come into this monkey pose, let's play a little bit with the hips. We're gonna just, like we're trying to tap our heels together and just feel how that affects going up into the hips and to the lower back. And now, like we're trying to press our heels to the outer edges of the mat, almost like we're bringing our knees together. And all we're doing is noticing how it changes, how we feel in this forward fold. So when we press our heels to the outside edges, towards the outside edges of our mat, we're internally rotating our thighs, our hips, our femur bones. And when we bring the heels towards each other, we're externally rotating. So let's bring the heels, press the heels towards the outside edges of the mat, but keep the knees lined up with the toes. Now flatten the spine. So the only thing we're doing is flattening the spine. And then from here, press into the shins, toes, or tops of the knees. Shoulders roll back, heart shines forward. Awesome. Beautiful. So toes are light on the mat, but we're still pressing into all four corners of our feet. Lengthening through the spine as the tailbone presses open to the back of our mats. Exhaling, bring the hands firmly to the mat, stepping back to our plank. And we can lower in full plank or bring one knee or both knees to the mat and lower all the way through chaturanga to the mat. Elbows brush the rib cage. Awesome. Shoulders roll back. Squeeze the elbows together. Squeeze the knees together. Toes point back. Really engage those glute muscles so we're pressing our pelvic bone right into the mat. And just that action alone lifts us just a little bit. Take a nice big breath. Lengthen out through the crown of the head and the tailbone. And then another big breath. See if we can lift. Lift and lengthen through the spine. Woo. I like thinking about someone grabbing my elbows and pulling my elbows back towards my hips. Woo. Toes tuck. Pull that belly button into the spine. Press into the knees. Come up to all fours. Toes tucked. Downward facing dog. Alternate, press one heel then the other into our mats. And then find center. We can either baby step the feet forward and then step back to that high lunge, or press the left leg back, step through high lunge, crescent lunge. Whew. So again, pull that femur bone up and into the hips, sink down, but we're pulling everything in. Belly button's pulling into the midline. Shoulders are relaxed. And then we'll shift our weight forward. Back foot steps up, forward fold. Chair pose. Flatten the spine, sit back into our seat, and then lift into our chair. Let's all go ahead and shift back to that forward fold. And we're gonna come into chair together. So first thing I'm gonna watch, flatten the spine. Awesome. It's like we're doing it almost like we're getting ready for a deadlift. It's almost like monkey pose. So super active core. Now sit back into a chair, but don't lift your chest, don't lift your hearts. Awesome. Now, once we're sat back, that's as far as we're sitting back, lift the arms, extend, lift the heart. Awesome. Feel how that goes right here as opposed to here. Yay! Extended mountain. Standing mountain. We're gonna flow. So one breath, one movement. We're gonna move a little bit faster, but it's the same movements that we just did. Modifying any way that we need to. Inhaling, arms reach up. Fold forward on the exhale. Monkey pose on the inhale. Hands to mat, stepping back on the exhale to plank. Lower through chaturanga on the exhale. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, we tuck the toes, pressing up and back, downward facing dog. Right leg extends straight back. Stepping through high lunge. Finding that strong position in our high lunge. Pulling the femur bone in, finding that strength in our feet. Then we lift to our crescent lunge. Awesome. So some options, you guys stay. I'm just gonna show you. We can also bring that back knee down to the mat and come to a supported crescent lunge if balance is a challenge. And then when we shift forward, we just step to the top of the mat, forward fold. And flatten the spine. Sit back to our chair. And then lift into full chair, fierce pose. Awesome. Extended mountain. Exhale, swan dive forward, nice flat spine. Letting go of anything, tension, thoughts that no longer serve us. Inhale, monkey pose. Exhale, hands firmly to the mat, stepping back to our plank. Awesome. Exhale, lower through chaturanga, either with one knee to the mat or both knees, or in full plank. Fantastic. Toes point back, shoulders back, elbows in. Lifting on the inhale to cobra. Breathe. Toes tuck. Press up and back, downward facing dog. Left leg extends. Stepping through high lunge. Inhale into our crescent lunge. Shifting our weight forward, back, but stepping up, forward fold. Flatten the spine. Sit back to our seat. Then lift into fierce pose, chair pose. Extended mountain. Standing mountain pose. Just take a moment here. Couple of breaths. We're going to do that same sequence. We're just going to hold everything a little bit, a few of the poses a little bit longer. Just remember, keep modifying. You guys are doing awesome. Listening to yourselves and staying in the moment. Let's inhale, arms reach. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hold here for 3 breaths. Maybe grab the elbows and just let the head hang. Feeling that traction in the spine. On our next inhale, flatten the spine, pressing into the shins, toes, or tops of the knees for monkey pose. Awesome. Remember, press the inner thighs to the back of our mat, so we're blossoming our sit bones to the back. There we go. Awesome. It's a little bit more work, but it will benefit us in the long run. Exhale, hands firmly to the mat. Let's step back to our plank. And we're just going to take our feet wide at our mats in our plank pose. So big toes might be the only thing on the mat. And then from here, we're gonna push up and back, downward facing dog. Woo, wide leg down dog. Remembering our hands, or spreading our fingers, pressing the finger pads and the hand pads into the mat rather than the wrists. And from here, we're going to use the core muscles to float us back into that plank. And then use the core muscles to pull us back into that wide stance down dog. And we're just going to float front to back with the breath. Inhale, pulling us forward. Exhale, lifting and pressing us back. Inhale, pull us forward. Exhale, pressing back. We can always take child's pose or go into standing mountain or forward fold. So we're just pulsing forward to plank, wide leg plank, and then back to wide leg down dog. And then one more time into plank. And one more time into that down dog. Bring the feet back together, hips distance. We're gonna lift the right leg to the sky. Pressing into that left foot, lengthening up as if we're trying to touch really high on a wall behind us. Awesome. Hey, let's go ahead and step through high lunge. Roll those wrists out. We were there for a bit. We're going to hold this high lunge for a few breaths, and we're going to do a little bit of tuning in. We can also bring that knee down to the mat if we need to. So in this high lunge position, sometimes we'll really open the hip to the side, but what we want to do is pull the femur bone into the hip, which then squares us to the front of the mat, and just be here and noticing the difference, how that feels when we have to use those smaller glute muscles to support us in this stance. Awesome. Let's go ahead, lift to crescent lunge. Ooh, beautiful. I'm gonna add a little twist here. Exhale, let's twist to the right. Arms come down. Left arm to the outside of the right leg. Right arm reaching down behind. Still pulling the femur bones into the hips. Breathing. And then on our next inhale, let's untwist, come back to center. And then we're going to shift our weight forward, back foot stepping to the top of the mat, forward fold. And maybe grab the elbows. We're going to be here for about 5 breaths. Bending the knees as much as we need to so the head can just hang. Awesome. Feeling the space between our shoulder blades expand on the inhale. And then relaxing on the exhale. Flatten the spine. Chair pose. Woo. Arms can extend or hands can rest at heart center, whichever feels right. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose. We're gonna have some fun in monkey pose. All right. So in our monkey pose, we're going to, let's all go ahead and just come all the way up to standing. So just reverse up. We're gonna interlace the fingers. We can grab the fingers or a thumb or interlace. And we're not really opening yet. And all we're doing is we're going to pulse from the middle of the shoulder blades as if we're pushing into the back of our heart and it's lifting us up. So there's a little bit of a squeeze happening as well. So as I lift, squeeze and lift and relax. Squeeze and lift and relax. So where we're going in our monkey pose is we're going to be here and we're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So we're pulsing between the shoulder blades, squeezing our hearts forward. So let's go ahead, come in back to that forward fold. Monkey pose. And then this is optional, heart pulses forward, relax. Heart pulses forward. So what this is helping us to do is to create some strength in that thoracic spine. Awesome. Oh, you guys are doing perfect. Sweet. So not only strength, but also mobility. Because that's one of the first places that we start to lose that range of motion in our spine is in the thoracic spine. Let's go ahead, exhale, hands all the way to the mat. Stepping back to plank. Let's all come onto our knees for modified plank. Now let's just check in with our hands. Now some of us may have limited wrist mobility and our hands may be a little bit in front of us, and that is okay. Just make sure, just trying to keep the hands neutral. And then we're gonna lower all of us together. So hold on, I'm gonna look at all of your fingers. So if you watch, as I lower, elbows are tucking in to the rib cage when we lower down, right? So it's going straight back. See how my arm is as opposed to this. So stronger shoulder protection by creating that rotation and length in the neck, and then we lower. So it's almost like our elbows are touching our ribs as we lower down. Awesome. So if we're lowering in our chaturanga and we want to lower in full plank and we notice that we start to lower here first, it's better to do the modified version. So if we're in full plank and we're like, ee, here I go, it's better to either lower one knee or both knees. One knee is optimal because then we can keep, if we're in full plank, we lower both knees. See how it drastically shifts everything? But when we lower one knee, we're still close in that alignment. Because we're building those We're trying to prevent ourselves from having wings in our scapula, which I don't know if I can, but it looks like kind of like this, where we're just dumping on the flesh of our rotator cuff. Awesome. So I don't even have to do the flow. We're doing that up, down together. So beautiful. So do you guys feel the difference though when we, because it's also a lot of core. I used to think it was all arm strength, and then I discovered my inner core. Awesome. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and all come onto our stomachs. Toes point back, shoulders roll back. And we're gonna do the flow anyway, just because I'm excited. So we're going to start the first one by peeling up. So we're lifting as high as we can in Cobra. Then we're gonna push and then come back. And then float forward, lower, peeling back up, back to child's pose. Awesome. So the next version from our child's pose, we come forward and lower only as far as we can so we can push back up with a flat spine. Not going past 90 degrees. Right there, Sarah. There we go. And it can be really small. Awesome. Beautiful. Let's just do 2 more. So Anna, another version that might feel more comfortable is just to come forward, hold here, and then press back. Come forward, hold, and then press back. Because that you're still building a lot of shoulder mobility and strength just by doing that. And then when we're finished, I'll just meet in child's pose. I think I said to do 3 more. I don't remember. But if I didn't, that was my intention. Just breathe and relax. Maybe move the arms or shoulders in a way that feels like it releases any tension we may have created. Then we'll go ahead and tuck the toes. Let's roll the wrists first, because we're going to be a little while on our wrists, so just make some circles. Plant the hands on the mat, lifting our tails up and back, downward facing dog. We're going to take that wide stance again on our mats. We're going to press into the right hand and to the right foot, like we're trying to split our mat diagonally between the right hand and the left foot. And all we're doing is noticing. It's a subtle movement. And maybe we can lift the left hand or gesture toward, yeah, see, look at that. Now let's switch sides. So bring that hand back to the mat. Let's press into the left hand and into the right foot. So as we're noticing and experiencing that shift in our weight, our center of gravity, that's the same feeling when we're lifting one leg up for extension behind us for 3-legged dog. So now let's go ahead and lift the right leg and then lower it back to the mat. Take the feet wide on the mat again. Really focus on that inner core. So first split the mat between the right foot and the left hand. And then lift and lower. And then split the mat between the right hand and left foot and lift and lower. And then let's come to child's pose. So that really forces us to tune into that inner core, which is super key in a lot of our poses. Let's come back to that down dog. bring the feet back together, back to hip distance apart. And we're just gonna walk our hands to the back of our mats. So we're coming to the back of the mat in a forward fold. Chair pose. Take a nice big breath, reach to the sky. Let's bring the feet together. Exhale, come back to our chair. Take a nice big breath in, lengthen through the spine. As we exhale, we're gonna twist to the right side. So let's all come back to center. So we're all elephants today. Nobody is not an elephant, but we're gonna change that. So let's come here and imagine there's we're on a spit coming from the crown of our head through our tails. And the only way we can turn is by rotating on that stick. So this is what is happening right now. Everyone's elephants because we move our big elephant heads like this, right? And we feel like we're twisting. But what we're doing, actually, what we want to do is twist around so the crown of the head stays lined up with our tailbone. Yay! Awesome, right there, Dad, that's good, that's good. Keeping our hands right in our heart center. There we go. So let's all come to standing. Let's take our hands on our hips. Soft knees. This is all body exploring today, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're going to just twist from the waist, and we're going to twist to the right side. So as we're twisting to the right side, my right hip is pressing forward. So the only place that we're twisting is here in the belly button region. So if my arms were on a piece of plywood or 2x4, I'm twisting in that same plane. The other thing we want to not do is let the knees collapse. So as I'm twisting, another good way to measure is hands on shoulders. Twist. Super awesome. Yay, you guys are twisting. Do you feel that, Sarah? That's that sensation. So let's go ahead and just bring hands to our hips. We're gonna sit like a squat. Now draw the left shoulder back, or right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Then come back to center. Draw the left shoulder back and the right shoulder forward. So that's, generally speaking, what the twist in our chair feels like. Yay! You guys look amazing. Now let's bring hands to heart center. Take a nice big breath. Exhale, small twist, just a small one, to the right. Awesome, hold, hold, hold. It doesn't have to be big. We're gonna grow into a deeper twist. Now take a big breath in, lengthen through the spine. We might come out of our twist a little bit. And then exhale, twist again. Same side. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, twist. Awesome. Yay, let's come back to center. Stand, reach to the sky. Woo, shake it out. We're gonna do the other side. We did a lot on the right side. So this is really activating some muscles that maybe we don't normally connect with. Chair pose. Nice big breath in, and then twist to the left. So we're leading with that left shoulder, right shoulder's dropping down, crown of the head's lengthening out. Big breath in, exhale, twist. Another nice big breath in, lengthen out, and then twist. Woo! And then inhale, come back to center, reach extended mountain. And then just, we're gonna shake all the way down to a fold. Woo! Reverse up, nice flat spine. Standing mountain pose. Yay! I have no idea what time it is.
9:18.
Oh my goodness. I had so much more planned. We're gonna make our way onto our mats now. Actually, let's do a balance pose. So some options. If you have a rail and you wanna use the rail or the wall, we're gonna go into dancer, which is one of my most favorite poses. So first step, find balance in one leg. Lift the opposite foot. Once we find that balance, next step, grab the ankle. Find balance there. Then flex the foot. So we create a hook for our hand to hold on to. Now squeeze the knees together. If we're still balancing and we still feel strong, awesome. We can start to lean forward. If we're still feeling good here, still feeling strong, we can now press our foot into our hand like we're trying to push our foot out of our hand, but our hand is strong and we're not letting go. Awesome. Yay. You got it. And we're gonna be totally different on each side. So one side is gonna be like, boom, I got this. The other side, we might feel a little wobbly. And remember, the rails or the walls are there. So switching sides. Grab that ankle. Squeeze the knee, create that hook with the foot. Pushing into the earth so that we're not dumping into the hip. Slowly hinge forward at the hip. Make sure we're pulling in and still engaged in our shoulder. And then we can push in. Yay, good job.
Which side is my bad one?
So balance poses is a place for us to find a sense of humor. Because one of the hardest things that we all do in life is fall. But the best thing we can do is laugh and get back up and try again, right? So I love balance poses because it brings us humility. We have to like let go of ego a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing, both sides. Finding balance, pressing in strong into that foot. Grab that ankle, squeeze the knees in, flex the foot. Engage the shoulder. So the shoulder's pulling in as the foot's trying to pull the shoulder out. And then hinging at the hip as we come forward. And then if we want, we can press into the hand. Ooh. Ah. Beautiful. So the other tip, the other thing to think about is, can I come out as gracefully as I went in? Right? So that's a lesson that we all have to learn, right? Because I could probably get bendy enough where I could grab my toes, but I will fall out of the pose. I won't be able to come out with grace. So the tendency is, ooh, look, I can go farther, I can go farther, I can go farther, then we collapse out. So go as far as we feel in control and strong, maybe push a little bit, then come out, and then we can come out with grace, right? I know. Switching sides. Because I never want to say don't push ourselves a little bit past our limits, but we always want to know where that is. And not only will it be better for our bodies, but it will also prevent some injury potential. Whew. Awesome. Shake it out. And then we're going to make our way onto the mats. Big breath in. Big fold. Stepping back to our plank. Coming onto our knees. We're going to press back to child's pose. And then come back to all fours. We're going to bring the legs around front, coming to a comfortable seat. One knee bent. We're going to take the opposite ankle on top of the knee, flexing our foot, knees opening out to the side. So hands can be behind us, depending on, so another option there is to Just extend that leg. There you go, perfect. And another option is to come onto our backs. This is more of a restorative position. And this sometimes feels really good as well. Yay! And if we decide to go onto our backs and we want a little bit more, we can lift the foot off the mat. We can interlace our fingers behind the knee of the straight leg. Awesome. And lower the tailbone down. Now press our tailbones into the mat. Woo, look at that. Press the tailbones down. Because we want to maintain that natural curve in the lower back. Fantastic. Nice big breath in. Let's go ahead and release out in control, nice and slow. Straighten both legs. Maybe bounce them off the mat, the backs of the knees off the mat. Maybe windshield wiper the feet. And then we'll switch sides. Bend the opposite knee, cross the other leg over. And then find that edge. Tailbone stays rooted down. That's where the magic happens. If we lift our tailbones up and curve the lower back, then we are getting a stretch in the wrong spot. We're really working on opening up our hip. Beautiful. So flexing the foot that's crossed over the knee, awesome. Because by flexing the foot, we protect the knee socket, the knee joint, the knee socket. I'm never going to pass my anatomy exam. And then whenever we're ready, let's go ahead and release out. Shake that knee. This is a great stretch to do before bedtime. If you have a headboard or just up against the wall, put your foot up against the wall and then cross that leg over. We're just going to do a quick little twist before we go into relaxation. So coming onto our backs, bending the right knee, keep the left leg straight, and then shift the left hip towards the right foot, and then twist to the left side of our mats. Keep the right shoulder rooted down. And then gently untwist, bring the knee back to center, shifting our hips so the spine is back to neutral. And then bend the left knee, extend the right leg, shift the right hip towards the left foot so we're off center, then twist to the right. Keep the left shoulder rooted down. Continue to take nice full, complete inhalations and full, complete exhalations. Begin letting the exhale last longer than the inhale. Gently untwist, shifting the hips back to neutral. Maybe hug the knees into the chest, or maybe one knee at a time. Before we move into relaxation, just giving ourselves one last movement that feels good in the body. Maybe windshield wiper the knees, or maybe happy baby. Or just bringing the bottoms of the feet together with the knees open out to the side. Bring our awareness back to the breath. Maybe play with that Ujjayi breath a little bit. And taking this time to notice the sounds and the sensations that are surrounding us. You can hear the sprinklers, the birds, cars off in the distance. Maybe we feel that nice light breeze. How does it feel as that breeze passes over my skin, through my hair, across my clothes? Something we're all probably experiencing quite intensely on one side of our bodies is the sun. Again, just bringing our awareness to the feeling that we're experiencing as the sun is hitting our bodies. Is it warmth? Is it irritation? Let's gently begin to move our bodies, slow movements to start. Maybe wiggle the fingers and then the toes. Make circles with the wrists. And maybe draw one knee into the chest, and then the other. And we'll just use momentum to gently rock us up to a comfortable seat, or we can go onto our sides and press up to a comfortable seated position. Legs can be crossed in front, extended straight out, or open out to the side. Let's take a big breath in, sweep the arms up overhead, bringing palms together. As we exhale, bringing hands between the eyebrows, just letting the hands rest between the brow. Take a nice big breath in, relax the shoulders down. And here, let's send gratitude inward. Exhaling, hands now come to heart center. Take a nice deep breath in, lifting our heart to meet our thumbs. And now let's send gratitude outward. Thank you all for coming to class today and spending this time with me. I so appreciate it. Have an amazing week, and hopefully the sun decides to stick around. Namaste.